I think that one of the reasons that we see the lawlessness is because everybody says, oh, well, this is my truth. I believe that this is moral behavior. But if we say, no, there is such a thing as absolute morality, you can't go around killing other people, then what does that do? Well, I mean, it would stop school shootings, wouldn't it? It would stop this idea that we are simply accidents of the cosmos, and therefore we can just treat everybody else just like an accident or just like another animal. What else would it have stopped throughout history? Think about it. Hitler was behaving on principles, although the Nazis had disavowed the idea of human evolution. Hitler was actually basing his religion or his views on evolutionary principles, that some people are more like animals than other people. And he would, of course, call himself at the top of the food chain, right?
Of course, yes.
But that's the thing, and that's what this has caused throughout history, and it's extremely dangerous.
Well, let's shift now and talk about, and of course this is not a total pivot, because you are someone who has a call of God to really share truth and to show people, whether they be Christians or people who are not Christians, but to show the compatibility of science and faith and to relate some of these ideas, and you communicate in a variety of ways, a variety of resources, whether it be books or you've done television work, you've got a science museum. Now, do you ever sleep? What's the secret?
Bob, I get a few hours of sleep each night. Woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and hit it again. That's just the way it works. I'm very passionate about what I do, but we're excited that we just opened up the largest science museum in Tennessee and the largest science museum in the world from a biblical perspective, over 100,000 square feet just outside of downtown Nashville in Dixon, Tennessee, and it's called the Wonders Center and Science Museum. We are really excited that we just opened this up, and we've had thousands upon thousands of people come through, encourage. I'm talking about secularists, busloads from Southern California, from St. Louis, from everywhere imaginable, who are not necessarily Christians, and yet they're looking at this science museum and saying, wow, and then they say, whoa, but you're talking about the design that we find in science and how it shows there must be a designer. That designer is the God of the Bible.
Well, I was reading about this Wonders Center and Science Museum, and not so bad when you can get somebody else to build the museum for you. That is an amazing story.
Yes.
So how did this all come to be?
This all came to be, actually, it started about over 20 years ago. When I was 8 years old, my family had just moved to the Middle Tennessee area, about an hour south of where we are currently, and I remember picking up fossils in my backyard, and I was like, wow, these are all sea creatures and sea fossils, corals and crinoids and all of these weird things that are mostly marine creatures. And I said, well, could this be evidence of what the Bible talks about, that there really was a historical flood, right? So I started to collect those sea creatures, and I put them in a fishing tackle box, all of these fossils, until the fishing tackle box could hold no more. So I said, I need a bigger box. And I was about 9 years old, all right? So I got a big tough box that goes in the back of a pickup truck, and I started loading it with fossils. But guess what? That was not the bigger box that the Lord had planned, because that exact same year that I moved to that little bigger box, and I was telling people about God's design and about the Bible and about the gospel, that same year, just an hour up the road, this building was being built for an entirely different purpose. And yet, I would have never guessed that 20-something years down the road, we would actually own this building and be using it for God's glory with a world-class planetarium ranking in the top 10 out of 4,000 planetariums worldwide, including full-size dinosaurs, massive observatory-class telescopes, 1 million volt Tesla coils. We actually fire lightning in the same room with audiences and let them experience this. If you'd have told me that back when I was 9 years old picking up fossils, I wouldn't have believed you, but God had a bigger box in mind, and it was the Wonders Center.